What up? What up? What up, world? It's your boy Bionic
and Ray.
And Ray. And thank you for tuning in to WDRB Media, the voice of the community, and the only station giving you double the information and inspiration. And you are now tuned in to the A-440 radio show. And as always, we gotta remind y'all, make sure to go online. Go to ayleemusic.com. Listen to the music, buy the music, share, and tell a friend to tell a friend. And if your friends don't want to go to the site, just tell them, hey, you got streaming, right? You got Spotify, you got Apple Music,
you got Spotify,
Google Play and all them good things.
Right.
Search A.Y.space and get that music because it's fire. And we got to shout out our sponsors. Back to Health Chiropractic Medical Center, serving the Triangle for over 20 years with chiropractic, functional nutrition, and DOT exams. 2 locations to serve you, 6224 Fayetteville Road, Suite 106B in Durham, and 1708 Traywick Road, Suite 205 in Raleigh. To book your appointment, 919-544-8881. And Arcade of Thrones, where they offer a unique vibe for the perfect social gaming experience. 399 Hubert Street in Raleigh. For more information, call 984-200-4419, or you can email them at arcadeofthrones@gmail.com. And make sure to follow them on Facebook, IG, Twitter at Arcade of Thrones.
That's right.
All right, now, usually we do things that are near and dear to my heart.
Yes.
But today we're doing something different, y'all.
A little different.
This is Ray's Spotlight.
My Spotlight show.
This is your Spotlight show. Ray has found something that is near and dear to her that she wants to speak on, and we're going to speak on it. Let's go.
Well, I have many things that are near and dear to my heart, but in remaining current, what today's topic is going to be about is PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. And the reason why this comes up and why it's relevant is, of course, many of us are still hearing about the death of Nipsey Hussle. And so, in doing so, I know for me, some other people, as we were discussing and talking, I'm just realizing, and it's triggering up other things. And of course, anytime you start talking about triggers, that of course opens up other discussions for other things. So I just thought that it would be it's a serious topic, but it's going to be a nice and relevant topic, I feel like.
Well, then let's go.
So then let's go. I was going to hop right into it. I find that I'm highly desensitized to deaths now. Not just high profile deaths, but also just when I keep hearing, because I feel like there was one point in time, especially in 2017, where I was just inundated with this person died and then this person died. It was like open season, and it still is open season on Black males, particularly, also Black females. But I'm recognizing that I'm getting to the point, I'm starting to show signs of post-traumatic stress. And I didn't know what it was at first, but I have many friends who are in the mental health, psychological, psychiatrist field. Psychiatry field is what I should have said. And when we sit and we discuss these things, a lot of times when we talk about PTSD, a lot of people have the misconception that it has to be war-based. It has to be from a soldier. You have to be a veteran. You had to have been in war, and that's the only population that is affected by this. And why they are a huge population, that's not necessarily true. Did you know that?
I did know that.
How did you know that?
Because essentially, certain people, traumatic childhoods, traumatic relationships,
Facts.
Abuse,
Facts.
Rape, those types of things have lasting effects on people.
Facts.
So essentially, like, yeah, it's beyond war. It's bigger than war, even though war is what people just try to attribute it to. So I get that. Like, yeah.
So do you recognize or do you know some of the symptoms of post-traumatic stress?
I know 0 symptoms of post-traumatic stress.
Would that be something that you would be interested in
Well,
talking
even
about?
if I wasn't interested, which I am, I think the people are interested to know if they are dealing with some of this stuff.
So I think it's important to note that when you're starting to talk about symptoms, that they're multivariant, meaning that there are different components and facets to your personality and how you function that get affected. So there's behavioral, there's psychological, there's mood, there's sleep. And then they each have kind of like subsets. So in regards to behavioral, if you're finding that you're more agitated, that you're irritable, that you're hostile, that you are engaging in self-destructive behavior, or you are engaging in social isolation, and I'm believing that that's to differentiate between being an introvert versus, being socially isolated, is that you're purposely saying, I'm not going out and I'm not going to see people, whereas before you may have gone out.
So I do that, but I don't think I'm dealing with post-traumatic stress. I think I'm just getting older and honoring.
And it could be both. I mean, I'm definitely not a mental health professional.
Nope.
But, okay. And then psychologically, you would be maybe experiencing flashbacks, having severe anxiety, severe paranoia, mistrust of folks or situations regarding your mood. And this is important, I think. You have a loss of interest or pleasure in activities. You have a lot of guilt. If you feel a lot of loneliness, that could be a symptom.
This sounds like symptoms of being a millennial.
And let's talk about that. This is someplace that I wasn't even going to explore or go to, because I know we started one way, but it can stream off into another place. You know that this group, the millennials, like, they're the first group who's ever had consistent and constant exposure to school shootings.
Right.
They also grew up with 9/11. Nothing like that had ever happened before.
Right.
So that actually is a highly warranted statement that you made, that it absolutely would bear a manifestation on today's generations, subsequent generations, and the generations that were growing up during that time. That absolutely makes sense.
Well, I mean, I tend to...
But you're not a millennial.
I'm not, but I tend to, see things and understand things and bring them to light for other folks. And like I said, it sounds like millennials, because like I know a lot of people that have those symptoms. And of course, this is like Googling symptoms for anything. And it's like anybody. I got that. Oh, I got that. Oh, I got that. Oh, no, I'm dying. Like, I got gout. Like, no, like...
How did you? Okay. Yep.
I'm trying to throw some humor into the show.
He is.
So essentially, like, I do think it's part of that. And some of these are signs of depression. Some of these are signs of,
which have a lot of overlap.
Right. So how do we directly identify post-traumatic stress from something else?
Definitely seeing a mental health professional. And I know, as I've done my research and even just had conversations with other mental health professionals, that too, something else that is an element of post-traumatic stress disorder or syndrome is that it also includes like nightmares or like memories of, like heightened memories of something that was traumatic for you, and that you have these heightened reactions to them. Whereas being depressed doesn't necessarily manifest those symptoms in terms of having these, recurring nightmares, night sweats, night terrors, and whatnot. I know that's one way to kind of differentiate. But I know even just for me, like I've been clinically depressed. I've been in treatment for clinical depression. I've been depressed. And I feel like my trigger is different. So, for example, not for some reason, but when Philando Castillo, I actually saw his murder on Facebook. I don't know if you remember that, but but specifically with his case, it was broadcasted on Facebook because, his girlfriend was taping it to show people this is what's happening.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it went out, and that whole social media virality, I guess I'll call it, is, it was sharing, and Facebook was not keeping up with how many times it was being shared and reposted. And I know I saw it twice. And I've noticed that since then, my reactions are much different when I hear about murders. And so when this whole thing came up with Nipsey, and people were saying, and it's on, social media, I know I was triggered personally.
Well, what we'll do is we're about to take a break.
Let's take a break.
We'll come back and we'll discuss more about triggers and PTSD and things of that.
And then we'll end it happy, I promise.
Will we?
No, we will.
Okay, well there it is then. You're now listening to the A-440 show with Bionic
and Ray.
You're tuned in to WDRB Media, the voice of the community, and the only station giving you double the information and inspiration. We'll be right back. But I can't shed a tear. Oh, why am I here? When everything I say falls on deaf ears, I gotta ask, why am I here? Sometimes I say a prayer at night. Lord, please don't wake me up. I'm tired of barely getting by. I'm tired of fighting, but too stubborn to give up. Some say it's time for me to make a change, but everyone I make, it seems the results are still the same. Running round in circles and it's making me a square. But it's getting to the point where I don't care. I'm full of frustration, but I can't shed a tear. Oh, why am I here? When everything I say falls on deaf ears, I gotta ask, why am I here? Another day, another dollar, another cry, another holler. My back's up against the wall. I just sit it on down so I don't fall. Not enough juice to make it through the day. My water's cut off, so I stay thirsty. Cupboard's empty, so I'm still hungry. And a week left till I get paid. I ask myself, is this where I belong? Am I cursed? What did I do wrong? Folk telling me I need to stay strong. The race is almost over, but I don't see where the line is drawn. I'm full of frustration, but I can't shed a tear. welcome back to WDRB Media, the voice of the community, and those streaming live through the TuneIn radio app and through iHeartRadio. You're listening to A-440 Radio with your boy Bionic
and Ray.
And if you're just tuning in, we are discussing PTSD. But before we get back into that, make sure y'all check out aylemusic.com. The last song you heard, yeah. I know you liked it.
Yeah.
And if you didn't, there's nothing wrong with the song. Something wrong with you. Make sure to stream that thing. Right. A.Y.Lee. And also, make sure to check out the YouTube page.
Yes.
Bionic A-440 for our past shows. Catch up, see what we've been discussing prior to today. And
our Instagram
also
page.
The Instagram page,
which is going to be important this week because I'm going to put a lot of these resources that I'm talking about, I'm going to link them onto our Instagram page.
Yes, which is A440.radio.
On Instagram.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Are you proud of me that I said Instagram?
Yes, I am.
Thank you.
So before we went to the break, you were talking about seeing these deaths virally.
Right. And repeatedly too.
And earlier you were talking about being triggered and also being desensitized. Right. It doesn't sound like you're desensitized, because being desensitized would mean this has no effect on you. And like for me, like when I hear about certain things, I purposely don't go research them. I purposely don't go find them because I like for certain things to kind of flesh themselves out prior to me going in and having to deal with conspiracy theories and having to deal with,
facts,
raw emotion of something happening. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, so with the Philando Castillo thing, honestly, I didn't even read up on it for like 2 days.
Right.
And like, I mean, almost any of the police shootings of black folks, like after Trayvon, like Trayvon, I found out the day of. Everything else, oh man, this dude got killed by the police. I waited 2 or 3 days. Like I'm not
when
reading.
You say you waited, how did you wait? Because I know for me, I didn't have the opportunity to wait. Like, I mean, when someone gets killed, you're hearing about it because,
well, no, the thing was, when I say I wait, because again, I try to find details on what's going on. And so when I say I wait, I'm not going in looking for details on the story. I might see people talking about it. I don't engage in conversations because I don't know nothing about it. I haven't read about it. I haven't looked it up. You know what I'm saying?
But you're still hearing about it.
But I'm not engaging with it. I'm not engaging in it. And so I'm kind of like, boom, and I'm out. Now with Nip, it was a little bit different.
Why?
You know what I'm saying? I don't know why. When it happened, I was just in the middle of it. Like, I was in the middle immediately just reading and seeing everything. Probably because my familiarity with him, more so than anything else.
Right.
But essentially, like, again, like, with a lot of videos, I don't watch them. Like, surveillance footage, I don't watch. All that other stuff, because I'm like, what's the point? I'm not a detective. I don't need to see it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying I'm desensitized or I'm not saying I am or am not desensitized, because I can see it. That means nothing to me. It's not going to make me mad or make me or give me any pleasure, you know what I'm saying, or give me any satisfaction or whatever. I don't need to see it. Like, it happened. I know it happened. I'm done. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Some people have to be gravitated towards it and have to see, no, I need to see it for closure.
Right.
So be it. If that's you, cool. You know what I'm saying? That ain't me though. But again, it doesn't sound like you're desensitized.
When I say that I'm desensitized or that I feel like I'm desensitized, desensitization for me comes and goes. So like, I remember after Philando, he was like,
don't give me the line. Don't give me the line.
I'm not gonna, and I don't want to misquote and disrespect any situation, in the misquotations, but if I recall correctly, he was like, the second or third death out of a string of like 5, 6, 7 deaths, if I recall, that were all involving police. And so by the time I got to that one and then happened to actually see it and then see it again, I definitely feel like I was something. I was something. I just know something snapped in me in a certain way. And that's a good segue to go back to what you asked me in the first section, is you were asking me specifically about what are symptoms of PTSD versus just being depressed. And I want to share a resource from the National Institute of Mental Health that talks about PTSD, developing symptoms, who develops it, what are the symptoms. And what I love about this is that it flushes out in more detail some of the things that I was talking about in the first section. And so to be diagnosed with PTSD, an adult has to have certain symptoms, and those symptoms have to be consistent and persistent for a month to be diagnosed. And they have to be severe enough to interfere with your daily functioning and or relationships and or work. I'm going to give the reference for this page so that folks can go and read about this. What's also great about this particular resource that I'm citing is that you can actually download the PDF of everything that I'm talking about. So folks can use it as a resource, and it also gives other resources in terms of who to contact. I'm going to give this resource if you feel like you or someone, a family member, you feel like is experiencing this. There is a support line, of course. It is 1-800-950 N as in Nancy, A as in Apple, M as in Mary, I as in Institute, which is 6264, that you can call and find out education programs and support groups.
Well, there you have it, folks. So
let's end the show in a positive. This was a very big week for some people, and I want to congratulate them.
Well, let's go then.
So the first person on my list that I want to congratulate is Miss Issa Rae. Congratulations on your engagement. Bionic has some feelings about that. Secondly on my list is to the cast and crew and writer and director of Us, especially Miss Lupita and her fantastic performance. Getting lots of accolades. Did you enjoy the movie? Of course you did. And then lastly, give a shout out to Miss Janet, Miss Jackson if you're nasty, for getting inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Yay! And that's it. That's the end of our show, isn't it?
Well,
that's the end.
Good job.
Thank you.
And hey, y'all, if y'all have any feedback, just hit us up on the Instagram. And
not on the show. Not on this particular show.
Nah, feedback on everything.
The comments are disabled.
Now. And hey, it'll be up on YouTube next week. Comment on the video. But in the meantime, between time, always remember, life is too short. Say what you mean what you say, learn who you are, be confident in what you want. Stop wasting folks' time. Give people a choice and move accordingly. And we out.